In today's video, I'm going to show you this really cool technique where you can generate some fake text message bubbles inside of Adobe After Effects. Now, this effect is done inside of Adobe After Effects, and as soon as you've launched up After Effects and you have your footage ready to go, we need to generate a new rounded rectangle. So go up to the rounded rectangle tool, and we're just going to completely remove the stroke from this. So where it says 7px on my monitor, we're just going to pull this down to 0 pixels. Now draw out the rounded rectangle on top of your video, and as soon as you've done this, we need to go over to Effects and Presets on the right of After Effects and search for Gradient Ramp. Drop Gradient Ramp on top of your rectangle, and now we need to change the color of this rectangle by adjusting the start color and the end color in Gradient Ramp. So if we're using iPhone's iMessage as reference, then we want to try and find a nice balance of two blue colors. So take your time to go through the settings of Gradient Ramp and try and find a perfect blend of these two colors. And as soon as you've done this, we need to generate new text. So we're going to go up into Layer, New, Text. And in this new text, you just want to type out your first message. So in my example, that is going to be, "Hey, how are you?" We'll change the color of this to white. We'll pull the scale of this down and move the position over on top of the blue bubble. Now the font is a little bit too random at the moment, so we want to change the font, and in this example, I'm going to change that to Cordia UPC. Now as soon as you're happy with the message, we need to adjust the size of the bubble to perfectly fit around the message. So we're going to pull the scale of this bubble down and move that just underneath the text layer. Perfect. Now let's move on to the second message. So let's copy and paste the shape layer and the text layer. And once you've copied and pasted this text layer, we want to go back to the first shape layer and the first text layer. Make sure you select both of these, right click on your mouse, and then press pre-compose and rename this pre-composition to message 1. This is basically going to group that shape layer and that text layer into one video, and this is going to make things a lot easier when we come to animate this later on. So now that we've isolated the first message, we can go and edit the second message. So we're going to go into the text layer and amend this message. So type out your response. In my example, that is, "I'm good, and you?" And now we need to change the color of this message box. So with iPhone's iMessage, it's blue for the first message and it's gray for the next message. So we're going to use that as inspiration, and we'll change the end color to gray, and we'll change the start color to a slightly lighter gray. And because we've changed that to gray, the white is no longer standing out, so we need to change this from white to black. Perfect. Now, as soon as you're happy with this, we're going to do the same thing with the second message as we did with the first. So we're going to copy and paste this, and as soon as you've pasted that, we're going to pre-compose the second message and the second message bubble into message 2. So now we're on to the third message, and I don't need to show you the technique because I've already showed you how to do this twice. So just go through and add the conversation and amend all of your messages, and do this as many times as you need to. Now once you've finished generating your messages and all of your messages are in their own pre-composition, we need to link these to a null object to animate them. So we're going to go into Layer, New, Null Object, and selecting message 1, 2, and 3, we're going to drag the pit whip tool and drop that on top of null 1. This basically means when we add animation to the null object, it's going to affect all of the messages at the exact same time. This makes things a lot easier when you're animating this effect. Now, pressing the null object, we want to press P on the keyboard to load up the position, and we're going to pull the messages all the way down. Now, as soon as you've done that, you want to create a brand new keyframe on position, so you want to press the stopwatch icon, and then we're going to scroll across in time, and we're going to pull the position of this up a little bit. Now once you've added those two keyframes, we want to take this a little bit further and add a little bit of bounce to the animation. So we're going to create a third keyframe, and we're going to pull the position down a really small amount on this third keyframe. So the text messages come up and then they fall down just a little bit, and this adds the illusion of a bouncing message. So as soon as you've done that, you want to go into message 1, and you want to press T on your keyboard to load up opacity, and you want to pull the opacity down to 0%. Now create a brand new keyframe by pressing the stopwatch, scroll across making sure the cursor head is just past the second keyframe of the null object, and pull your opacity all the way up to 100%. Now we need to do the same thing for these other two messages, so after around 2 seconds after that first animation, you want to create a brand new keyframe on position, scroll across a few keyframes and pull the position up, scroll across a few more, and pull the position down a small amount. Now select message 2 and press T on your keyboard to load opacity. Pull the opacity down to 0%, create a brand new keyframe, scroll across and pull up your opacity to 100%. Now if we play that back, you can see message 1 bounces up, fades in, message 2 bounces up and fades in, and we'll do the same thing for the last message. We'll wait another 2 seconds, create a brand new keyframe on position, scroll across a few frames, pull the position up, scroll across a few frames even more, and then we'll pull this down a small amount to add that bounce effect. And on message 3, we'll press T on the keyboard to load opacity, pull this down to 0%, create a brand new keyframe, scroll across and pull this back up to 100%. Now if we watch this back, you can see message 1 bounces up, fades in, message 2 bounces up, fades in, and message 3 does the exact same thing. Now there you go, that is the animation phase of this message effect now complete, but we really want to finish this effect off with the delivered and red notification on the message. So we're going to create a brand new text layer. So press T on the top bar, press on the video, and we're going to type out delivered. Change the color of this text from black to white. And we're going to drag this underneath that last message bubble. Now I'm just going to add the time code to this delivered message, so I'm going to put 8:52 PM. Let's decrease the size of this just a little bit, and we'll move this in position underneath that message bubble. Now parent delivered to the null object, and now we want to fade up the opacity, so press T on the keyboard while selecting delivered, pull the opacity down to 0%, create a brand new keyframe, scroll across a few keyframes and pull this up to 100%. Now after around a second or two, selecting that delivered message, you want to hold Command-Shift-D on your keyboard to duplicate the video, and on the second half of the text you want to change delivered to red and move the position of this to the right. And there you go, if we play this back you can see the messages are animating onto screen, you've got the delivered and the red notification, and there you go. That is how you generate the iPhone message bubble effect inside of Adobe After Effects. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please do let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe by pressing that circle icon up there, and also don't forget to check out the previous video by clicking this rectangle icon just down here.